Morning, Mike. Well, yeah, President Trump said he was open yesterday to making a deal with Democrats on extending those Affordable Care Act tax credits. That opens up a potential off-ramp here for the government shutdown. But Trump did come back, caveat his comments with a post on Truth Social, saying that he was happy to work with the Democrats on their failed health care policies or anything else. But first, they must allow our government to reopen. And that stance from Trump mirrors the stance of a number of Senate Republicans that I spoke with last night. All of them said they're open to talks, but they're on hold right now until the government reopens. And Senator Susan Collins is actually circulating a plan that promises to address those healthcare subsidies once the government is back funded again. Now, Trump is not the only Republican who actually seems interested in an extension. We've certainly heard from a lot of moderate Republicans who are interested, but last night, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted that while she is not a fan of the Affordable Care Act, something needs to be done about those expiring subsidies. She posted that when the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double, along with all the wonderful families and hardworking people in my district. Nearly 11% of those in Greene's Georgia district are enrolled in the ACA marketplace. That's according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. But for now, the shutdown stalemate is continuing. The Senate voted again and failed again last night to fund the government. But one of the crossovers who had voted yes, Maine Senator Angus King, he's an independent but caucuses with the Democrats, said he's now considering changing his yes to a no if Republicans aren't more forthcoming with discussions over those health care premiums. Another vote on the temporary funding is expected today. And guys, at this point, we expect that one to fail as well. But of course, we'll be keeping a close eye to see if there's any breakthrough in these negotiations. Mike?
Yeah, Emily, so obviously Democrats want some kind of solid assurances that there would be true negotiations on this if the government were to reopen. But isn't there also a tricky thing about the timing where, Democrats feel as if maybe the urgency would pass if the renewal period were to come and people wouldn't necessarily see the likely increase in premiums? It just feels as if everyone is kind of pushing for a particular tactical advantage along that front.
Mike, it's a really good question, because if you look at sort of when these marketplaces open and the notices go out, it is indeed November 1st. What I've heard from a couple sources who I've talked with, they said, look, even if Congress passes a fix after that, a lot of these companies can kind of go back, redo the price. There's a lot of question about exactly how that would work. But of course, I mean, if you've watched these negotiations take place on Capitol Hill before, it is very difficult to get an agreement done, especially one that would need to be bipartisan, as this one would need to be, the one that already has some pushback from a number of conservatives and Republicans on Capitol Hill. So it would take time to get an agreement done. But Democrats, I think at the end of the day, they know that the tax credits expire at the end of the year. There might be impacts that are felt before then, but the end of the year is truly the actual deadline to extend these. And I think that's what lawmakers know they need to work for.
All right, Emily, thank you.